Hi, I'm Ray. I'm the Next Gen Executive Pastor here at Bloom Church.
And I'm Antoinette, and I'm the Bloom Youth Pastor, as well as the Director of Sprouts Learning Center.
Well, thanks for tuning in to our masterclass on parenting. This is a follow-up to an amazing sermon series we had here at Bloom Church called Parenting with Purpose. You can check those sermons out here at the Bloom Church website or on our YouTube channel where you can click the bell and never miss an episode.
Right.
Today's masterclass on parenting is diving into a subject that's maybe a little testy sometimes. It's discipline.
Yes.
All right. And I bet a lot of parents out there would love it if their kids listen the first time that you told them to do something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or maybe a spouse
Absolutely.
as well. Like, hey, take the trash out.
Right.
Oh, the trash is still sitting there it hasn't been taken out.
Yeah.
Or put your shoes away. Oh, they're still sitting by the
Right.
front door, kicked off in the edge, right? I have unfortunate news for you today. Probably not going to happen the first time ever, right? And that's because children are not mind readers. They're not born mind readers. And sometimes spouses can be like children. But the whole point is that children are not born mind readers.
Right.
We have to teach them how to do the things that we want them to do.
Yeah.
If we come into a room at a 4-year-old and we tell them to clean their room, their idea of what a clean room looks like is completely different than the idea of what our clean room looks like. And so we have to, teach them, and the best way that we can teach anybody, a child of any age, as well as a spouse or adult, anybody, is by modeling it.
Right, absolutely.
We get down, we show them what does clean look like. How can we clean the room? Well, the blocks go in this tub, or this goes here. The clothes go in the basket, not hanging out of the basket. Right? Yeah. We have to model it. We have to teach the kids what it actually looks like, and what we're expecting.
Yeah, and that'll be several times, not just one time. It'll be several times
it
modeling,
takes
right?
a lot, yes. Younger years, it takes way more repetition. Teenage years, still repetition, hopefully a little bit less, but it just takes over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Absolutely. I know it's my teenage son, he likes to come home from sports and throw things on the floor. So like I would create in his room a spot, and then I would say, have him, hey, where does this bag go?
Yes.
And he would, oh yeah, I'll get it in a minute. No, I need you to stop what you're doing, and I need you to take your bag. And so sometimes I would grab his bag and I would take it to his room and show him this is where it belongs.
Exactly where it belongs.
This is where it goes.
Yep.
We would do it over again. And either he got annoyed with me and would start doing it, or it would just become a habit. And that's what he did.
Oh, yeah. Some of those things can become habit. I think even too, being a father of younger children right now, how many times we've gotten in these situations where I expected them to do something and they had no idea what I was expecting them to do. Right. Even the words I've used, they don't understand those words yet. And then they're getting upset, they're crying about something, and maybe my frustration's getting higher, and it's all because my discipline, I was saying, you should be doing this. Well, they had no idea what that meant.
Right.
And so really when it comes down to discipline, it's all about teaching.
Right.
A lot of people think discipline as a parent, it's you do this and it's done, right? Like you're the dictator. I say it should be done, but it's all about teaching them.
Yeah.
Teaching them how to do it.
Yeah. So we kind of, in Sprouts, we kind of do this with the kids. We expect them to clean up, right? So we have expectations.
Yeah.
But with the expectations, we also want to model it.
That's
good.
We
want to show them. So like it's as simple as, so if you have little ones at home and you're expecting them to clean their room, and you have books that go in a certain spot, maybe making a little picture of the books, right?
Yeah.
So then they visually can see that that's where the books go. And so then we model and we show them that's where it goes. But if I'm going to tell my little ones in Sprouts, hey, I need you to clean, they're going to throw everything in a pile and think that that's clean, right?
Sure.
But that's not the expectation.
Yeah.
So we always go over expectations, and we do that every day. Go over expectations, what we expect, and then we model it.
That's good.
Yeah.
An expectation, you set that expectation for them so they know what to expect.
Yeah.
The other side, the flip side, if you will, on discipline is reinforcing the good opposed to focusing on the bad when it comes to discipline. And I know I've seen you do it there at Sprouts, and we do it with our children, but like when you see a group of kids that are playing and they're playing really well and they're playing really good, but then you see a kid that's misbehaving, they're not playing the correct way. Are you focusing on that kid that's bad and they have bad behavior, or what are you doing?
Well, the reality is kids want attention no matter what, right?
Exactly.
So if I'm going to focus on the negative and that's all I'm going to focus on, and they know they're getting the attention from us, that's what we're going to get is the negative,
That's right.
So if I focus, so if I see like what you just described,
Yeah.
the kids that are playing well and then the one that's kind of misbehaving,
Mm-hmm.
I'll go over and I'll acknowledge, and I will, even say, I love the way you're playing. I love the way
Exactly.
you're using your hands
Yes.
to be soft. I love, and what happens most of the time is the one that's misbehaving kind of
Starts to
joins
start
in
coming
and
over.
starts to
Yeah.
do because what's happening right here is I'm using these kids to model the behavior and the expectation that I want.
That's good.
And so they're realizing that the behavior, them acting negative,
Yeah.
we're not going to give them the negative behavior.
That's right.
And so we will see less behaviors that way.
That's good. So we don't necessarily put a whole lot of focus on the negative.
Yeah.
And honestly, as parents, there's a whole lot. If we get overwhelmed, you can get overwhelmed really
Yeah,
easy because
absolutely.
there's a lot of negative sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a journey, parenting. There's a
absolutely.
lot of stresses and things like that. But chances are that, you could say 94% of all the things that we see, I could categorize it as junk that
Yeah.
we really don't even need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just stuff that we get annoyed by that really there's no need to focus on, but we really should be focusing on those positive things and
Yeah.
how can we pull those out
Right.
of our children,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I know like what we learn here in Sprouts, as well as what I even do with our youth,
Yeah.
is when we see the good, we call it out right away.
That's good.
Right. So
Mhm.
like I noticed that you waited for
Yeah.
that student. I noticed you did this. And so then the next time they're around you, they're doing good because they want to be noticed,
That's
right?
good.
We all want to be
Yeah,
noticed.
we all
We
wanna
all
be
want to be
noticed.
seen.
Yep.
And so a lot of the times that's what I have noticed, even with my kids, is when I'm calling out that and appreciating that part of it,
Yeah.
they're doing it more because they want us to notice it.
I love it. That's awesome. So when it comes to discipline, it's not so much about you say it, it's done first time, or maybe
right.
even like, oh, well, a second time. Okay. It's not so much about that as it is about teaching the children, teaching them how, and then reinforcing the positive behaviors and kind of letting the other behaviors. Now, if it's something that's not safe, you
Right,
obviously want to
right,
focus
right.
on that and stop that unsafe situation from happening. But when it comes down to it, we focus on the positive
Right.
and we teach by modeling our
Right.
children.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up our parenting masterclass on discipline. Make sure you check out all the other amazing masterclasses we have to help you parent with purpose.